I want to take your attention back a second, okay? Breaking news. Patel is nominated to be the FBI director. Dan Bongino is nominated to be the #2 at the FBI. MAGA celebrates, rejoices, bells are ringing out. The team, Patel, Bongino, that sought out every podcast microphone to talk about the Epstein list. The names are finally going to get released. It begins. They produce white binders. Phase 1 with the podcasters. This is not actually one of them, of course. I made this up. Your name's on it, right? And the names are going to come out. Pam Bondi says the list is on her desk. Then a memo comes out all of a sudden and says, there's no list. Oh, no phase 2. Phase 2 binders never happen. You said the conspiracy theories around Epstein just aren't true. They never have been. And yesterday, in an answer to Senator Kennedy, you said the FBI is not in possession of any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. So according to your testimony yesterday and in this committee, according to the evidence the FBI has, the number of names on the list are 0.
No,
zero.
The index has been released, and the number of people involved in that trafficking operation were charged in 2018.
Other than Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, your testimony in the Senate and here is that according to the evidence you have, the number of other names is 0.
That were charged based on credible evidence.
Well, who are the other names? Give me the other names that weren't charged.
We are not releasing the names of anyone because the Department of Justice never does that, of anyone that didn't have any credible information to attack them.
Let me move forward. The president you've seen the picture of the woman's body with the writing and the president's signature. The president says that's not his, okay? President says it's not his, the Republican colleagues say it's not his, the administration say it's not his. Will you be opening up an investigation into the Epstein estate for putting out a fake document with the president's signature linking him to the world's largest pedophile ring? Will you be opening that investigation into that?
On what basis?
On what basis? They literally put out a fake document, according to the president, with a fake signature. It's a forgery of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, I look forward to that investigation. Am I over? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your diligence.
Gentleman's time has expired.
The exchange begins with a reminder of a promise made loudly, publicly, and repeatedly by some of the loudest figures in the MAGA universe. When Patel and Dan Bongino were elevated as the dream team for a future MAGA-run FBI, their audience celebrated because they believed those two would finally expose everything. They were sold the fantasy that a mythical Epstein list, a sweeping catalog of powerful people tied to Epstein, would finally come out. And it wasn't just hinted at, it was marketed. They told their followers the binders were ready, names were coming, the truth was about to shake the world. They even theatrically teased the existence of Phase 1 and Phase 2 revelations, building hype like a political sequel. But when the actual responsibility of leadership arrived, those bold claims shrank dramatically. Patel now says there is no list. He now testifies that the FBI has no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone other than Epstein himself. He goes even further, reducing the entire imagined network to a number, 0. This is where the exchange becomes so important. What the congressman exposes, through pointed, almost surgical questioning, is the contradiction between what MAGA influencers promise their base and what the FBI director is now forced to admit under oath. Because when you're sworn in, the slogans end. The evidence matters, the courtroom matters, the law matters. And suddenly, those binders, those phases, those big reveals vanish. The narrative collapses under the weight of real investigative standards. This is a pattern we've seen repeatedly in the MAGA era. Politically convenient fantasies built for social media rarely survive contact with institutions, legal constraints, or actual accountability. Then the conversation shifts to something even more revealing, the alleged Trump-Epstein card, an image circulating with writing on a woman's body and what appears to be Trump's signature. Predictably, Trump denies it, his allies deny it, the administration denies it. And that denial forces the congressman to ask a very simple, very logical question. If the president claims it's a forgery and forging the signature of a sitting president is a crime, will the FBI investigate? Patel hesitates because he knows exactly what's being asked. He understands the implications. If he refuses, he reveals the political selectivity of his enforcement. If he agrees, he risks embarrassing the very movement that championed him. The congressman points out the obvious legal basis. If it's fake, it's a forgery of the president's signature. That alone justifies an investigation. Patel eventually gives in and says yes, he will investigate. A reluctant concession that shows how carefully he tries to navigate loyalty to Trump while maintaining the appearance of neutrality. What this moment illustrates is how governance changes when rhetoric meets reality. Political operatives can say whatever they want when they're pundits or podcast guests. But the minute they step into an institution, they either confront the truth or distort the institution to fit their narrative. And in this hearing, we saw Patel struggle between those two worlds. It's also a reminder that Democrats are often the ones fighting for factual consistency, transparency rooted in evidence rather than conspiracy, and institutions that serve the public rather than political tribes. The congressman's line of questioning wasn't just about Epstein or Trump. It was about honesty, about whether accountability applies equally, even when it's inconvenient, about whether the public will get truth, not theatrics. And that's why exchanges like this matter. They break through the noise and expose the difference between political storytelling and actual governance. Stay informed, stay critical, and keep demanding leaders who respect the truth even when it doesn't serve their political interests. That's how democracy protects itself.